Hello and welcome to our channel, A Beautiful Flower and a Grumpy Weed. Today we are going to talk about a really impactful book that has stayed with me for a really long time. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. As you know, on this channel we talk about books, meditation, investing, money and other socio-political issues. So if you like the content that we are making, there is more to come on that front, by the way. Please consider subscribing. Today we are going to talk about Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who endured a really tough life in a prison during the Nazi-occupied Germany in 1946. So he was captured by the Nazi. He was in a concentration camp. He spent time with his inmates. He writes about the experiences he endured during that time, all the ghastly things he had to undergo, how he survived them, what he saw amongst the prisoners as to what was happening, and what he learned from all of those experiences. He not only talks about those experiences, but he talks about what it means to him, what it means to us as human beings, how we can thrive under immense hardship and thrive based upon hope, love, and a possibility of a better future. There is no other real life drama that has happened in real life from a psychiatrist's perspective that comes closer to Shawshank Redemption. I would call this a real life Shawshank Redemption, and that's one of the fundamental reasons as to why this book has stayed with me for so long period of time. Frankl's book is set into the immediate aftermath of the World War II, which happened from 1939 to 1945. During this time, Hitler, who as we all know occupied the Nazi Germany, committed genocide. So what he did was he captured Nazi people of different descents who he disliked and killed. Around 6 million Jews were killed during this time. 5 million undesirable people, which included different sects of society, were also killed. All of these prisoners were captured and sent to a concentration camp, as was our author. And in this concentration camp, they were subjected to harsh conditions where they were either killed, and if they survived, they had to work against harshest of the winters and inhuman conditions and just survive on the basis of hope or die if they lost that as well. It is a really sad account of what went on during the World War II. During this video, we are not going to talk about his experiences during the prison, as they are really ghastly to speak of, and we'll mostly speak about the message of the book that he's trying to convey. During this time, what Hitler was trying to do was he was trying to create a pure Aryan race, and he was killing many Jews just because he could wipe them off of the face of the earth, and only the people he thought were pure could survive during this time. He was throwing people into the concentration camp, killing them and putting them through inhuman conditions left, right and center. Man's Search for Meaning is a recount of those experiences by Viktor Frankl that he has spent into the concentration camp. He doesn't tell this story in a linear fashion as to what happened on a day-to-day basis, but the book is divided into two separate parts. The first one being the aggregate experiences of the prisoners' camp as to what he saw, what he endured, what he himself did, what he saw other prisoners doing. And the second part talks about logotherapy, which is a psychiatric technique that he developed after coming out of the camp, after writing about his experiences and seeing what helped people mentally stay stable during that tough period of time. So that's how the book is divided into. To start with, Frankl divides the state that the prisoners went through into three separate parts. The first one being shock. So imagine being prisoner of war, and you are captured, you are sent into a concentration camp, cramped into a vehicle to full of its capacity, and you come into a concentration camp. A prisoner of guards checks you and just looks at your physical condition and either tells you to go to your left or to your right. And based upon that, you could either get sent to a bath, which basically means you would be subjected to poisonous gases and killed, or sent to work where you would work till you died down. So all of this is happening with you, and like at the very first day you see that half of the people who came with you to the concentration camp were killed. And while you are seeing this, the next day you wake up and you see that people are fighting because certain number of people are going to get killed. That number is going to get fixed. So it could be maybe 100 people that are going to get killed during the day, and you fight to keep your name off that list and push other people's name on that list. So this first state of shock when people were enduring, when people were going through, slowly but surely it get transformed into the apathy that he witnessed into the camp. So after you have seen so many bad things going around, after a certain period of time, people stopped reacting to it. They didn't show any emotion towards it. They just accepted it as a fact of reality. And those people who accepted it as a fact of reality slowly moved on to disillusionment, the third stage that he observed within the inmates. If people reached this stage, they did not have any hope. They did not have hope of seeing their family. They did not have any hope of doing any good work after they get out of the camp. They did not have anything to look forward to. And these people, unfortunately, met untimely death. And to quote the Viktor Frankl's word itself, the best of us in that camp died. So to survive, people had to do many bad things. They had to push other people's bodies, names ahead of themselves so that they could be killed and people themselves survive. Many such bad things went on to the camp. Now, what made Viktor Frankl survive and what is the central theme of this book? The central theme of this book is, if you have a why to live for, if you have a meaning to look forward to, you can endure anything in this world. So to give an example of the author in particular, he came with the manuscript of this particular book that talked about logotherapy and his thoughts on psychiatry. So when he was walking into the camp, all of his possessions were taken away from him. Everybody was stripped bare naked and thrown into the concentration camp. And in that process, his manuscript was taken away from him. All the while Frankl was in the concentration camp, he kept thinking about how he's gonna go out of the camp, how he's gonna write about his experiences, how that's gonna help him help his patients, how it is going to help humanity to understand the psychoanalysis of a concentration camp and how to overcome that. That's one. He looked forward to creating meaningful work. Second, he thought about the love of his life, his wife. So even though he didn't know whether she is alive or dead, he kept thinking about her. He thought about meeting her one day. He thought about her being alive. He thought about holding her hand again. And that hope, that little glimmer of hope, that possibility kept him alive. There were other inmates into the concentration camp who were not able to think along those lines. There were people who thought they are gonna get out by, let's say, imaginary date, let's say 30th of December. But when that day approached and they were not able to get out of that date, they just lost complete hope, and you could see the withering of their soul within the next few months, and they used to die down after that. Frankl saw much of this going on as a doctor, as an inmate, and he was able to see things from a different perspective. Because he was considering his doctor's skills, he was asked to help with dead bodies, he was asked to treat sick patients. And with the apathy with which people were treating those dead bodies, just dragging them across the floor, even though that hardened him, he did not let go of his soft core, he did not let go of humanity. He started helping other people. When new people were walking into prison camps, what Frankl started doing was telling them how to survive the initial inspection. So he used to tell the prisoners who are coming in for the very first time that if you walk limp or if you look weak, you are gonna get killed immediately. So try to walk straight, try to smile so that you could survive at least the initial days of the concentration camp. Another thing that he did was he helped one of the prisoner guards with a quarrel with his wife. He tried to help him straighten out his relationship. Because of that guard started treating him favorably. He started giving him food. He started giving him his good side. He started helping him out. And that way, gathering the goodwill of other people, Frankl was able to hang on to that hope and the possibility of a better life to get out of that prisoner camp. So as we talked about, the central theme of the book remains as meaning. If you can find meaning in any situation, you can survive any situation that you are put into. And why that happens is, and how that happened with our author is, he was able to choose his response to that particular situation. Along with all of his fellow inmates, he was subjected to very harsh conditions. He was put in a ghastly living conditions. But instead of reacting to it negatively, he chose to cling on to a stimulus, a response of hope. He thought better. Frankl proclaims that even if you are put in a really bad situation, you always have a possibility to choose your response. You can act to a certain situation in a particular way, and that control, having that freedom to choose, gives you the power to put meaning to any situation that you are put into. Under any hardship, you could put meaning into that situation. You could add in your own dreams and hopes and possibility of better future to that situation, and that could help you create meaning that would make you survive any hardship that you are witnessing. And considering this is a first-hand account of a terrible encounter with the worst of the humanity, it made me feel all of that love, meaning, suffering, hope. The culmination of that resulted into Frankl being a very indifferent, hopeful, optimistic person who was able to survive those hardships. The second part of the book talks about logotherapy, the psychotherapeutic technique that Frankl developed, which talks that a person's meaning in life could help him overcome many mental issues. So if a person is facing frustration with life, is going through difficult times with life, he needs mental assistance, there are two schools of thought. One of them is Freud, which talks about that the problems that we have in life are stemming from the relationships that we have. Freud advises people to fix their relationships, to fix their mental issues. What Frankl is advising is to fix the meaning in life. So for example, his particular patient was facing issues in life. The technique that Freud has advised him to fix his issues that he was having with his father. But Frankl, when he saw this patient, asked him about his work, what kind of work he was creating, what meaning he was adding into his life. And based upon their discussion, it turned out he did not like his work. So he advised him to change his job so that he could create more meaningful work that he liked. And once he did that, his mental issues were gone. So basically what it means is to focus on creating meaning in your life rather than paying attention to other schools of thoughts. So something to look forward to, a different way to look at psychoanalysis and psychotherapy. That's what the second part contains in this book. Frankl ends his book by saying that man is the one who invented the concentration camp. Man is the one who invented the gases that killed ton of these people. Man, and Hitler in this particular case, was one who killed tens of millions of people. We rage against each other, we kill each other, but at the same time, man is the same person who walked upright into this concentration camp. Man is the same person who endured all of this hardship to look forward to love, hope, optimism, and doing better. And let's all hope that we all cling on to that hope as we say goodbye to 2020, the year that has been hard on many of us because of COVID and other related things. And let's hope, let's pray, if you do, that the next year brings us joy and prosperity. So clinging on to that hope, this is Prasad, the Grumpy Weed, Into the Beautiful Flower and Grumpy Weed will be coming up with many new book reviews into the coming future. If you like the content that we are making, please consider subscribing.